I guess I should hit that record button. I'm kind of a systems guy and things organized, and that's one of the things that attracted me to Realeflow is the fact that I can do pretty much anything that I need to do inside of Realeflow. And building the buyers list is a feature that I really like about it. A lot of people, you know, their buyers list is an Excel spreadsheet or their Outlook contacts or Gmail contacts and stuff. Well, this system allows you to build your buyers list by type of buyer. You've got rehabber, you've got investor, turnkey, landlord, renters, owner finance buyers. So you can categorize those buyers so that you can use them when the time comes when you have that type of deal, rather than just blasting a property out to everybody on your list. So that's one of the nice that I really like about it. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. Got one more person checking in here. Let me go get them in here. And let me go share my screen. Okay. Everybody see my screen okay? You see Realeflow now? Yes, thumbs up, no? Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this started then. And I'm just going to kind of, we have a small group, so if you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to do that, just to be able to have a conversation here. I'm going to cover a lot of stuff, so feel free to ask questions along the way. And this account here is my training account. So this isn't real data that, you know, I'm currently working on. You know, this is all test stuff and examples and things like that, that I've been using over the years that Realeflow gives me to utilize. So just in case anybody's wondering, I don't work for Realeflow. I just happen to be a lover and user of the tool. So they take pretty good care of me and the members in our group that are interested in purchasing Realeflow. So with that said, I'm just going to get started. Over here in the top left corner is the three little bars here is your menu. And in that menu, you know, I've liked what they've done in the new release here, where they have restructured the homepage here, and it makes it a lot easier to find things. Now, this is going to look different as you do more with it. For example, if you have lead pipe searches already saved and stuff, it's going to put it in here. These menu buttons over here are a subset of all the stuff over here. So if you can't find something on the home page that you're looking for, then you're going to come over here to this menu button here and look at it. Okay. And it starts right here at the top: properties, contacts. Lead flow is where all your websites, direct mail, penned letters is actually separate, even though it's direct mail, but it's separate from the direct mail. It's postcards is what direct mail is. Mobi is the mobile text messaging and voice messaging capability. And then one thing that's pretty cool is they give you the ability for opt-in forms. They give you the code that you can go put these forms on a third-party website. In other words, a non-Realeflow website, such as Investor Carrot. You could go put an opt-in form on an Investor Carrot site so that they could dump the data into your Realeflow account. And then you got a marketing library built right in here. You can download Word documents, letters, postcards, and stuff in here and edit them and use them the way you want to use them. That's what's in that library. Lead Pipes Premium, the standard Realeflow account doesn't come with premium. It comes with Lead Pipes, which is, you know, property leads, people leads, commercial, and probate. Now, probate is a special upgrade. You have to buy those leads. We have a better source than that here in DFW, and that's with Real Estate IQ for probate leads. People leads is like for private lenders and bankruptcy and stuff. Where you'll use the most of, though, is the property leads. And when you upgrade to Lead Pipes Premium, it will give you, it's a one-time upgrade. It'll give you 17 types of leads nationwide. And again, that's a one-time upgrade. So there's a lot to that. Then coming down here, analyze. This is where you go analyze your deals, estimate your repairs. And then once you get a property under contract, you go into the rehab planner where they have connected up with Home Depot and all their SKU numbers and products there. So you can select the items specifically you want to use or want your contractor to use right there in that rehab planner. Pretty cool. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but it's a very detailed, very cool tool once you figure it out. Financing, you can go get pre-approval letters for hard money lenders. You know, we have a great hard money lender, as well as Ruth Ann's got a lot of great programs for investors in her business as well. Come down here to communicate. Here you can go do an email to individuals or to the group of buyers you have. You can also initiate autoresponders here and go edit and add new autoresponders to your websites. And you can view all your internal messages, also known as your Powermatch properties. So we're going to come back to this a little bit because that's a part of why we're talking about how to build your buyers list correctly so that you can Powermatch your properties. Powermatch is the automated process of matching up a buyer with a house or vice versa, matching up a house with a buyer. And that's where you make your money, right? Is if you have a big buyers list and you send it to your list, send a property to your list, then, and somebody's interested in buying it, then they can reach out to you. That's why you're doing this. If you don't have a big list, or if you don't have your list built correctly so that it matches to the houses, then you're not going to make as much money. And that's a very important part of Realeflow, is being able to build the data, build your list correctly, as well as your property data correctly. So we're going to get into that. It's the main reason why we're here today. And then under manage, you've got a Scrum board, which is a high visibility view of what's going on in your business. You can upload documents into the system. You can power link, which is allowing, so David, you're using Realeflow, and a person doesn't have to be on Realeflow, but you're over in, is it Plano, Dave? Plano, Garland, something like that?
Yeah, I'm over in Addison.
Okay, Addison. So if I got a lead in Addison and I didn't want to work it, but I wanted to partner with you, Dave, or have you go out and, take pictures, drive the neighborhood, whatever, I could make you a PowerLink user in Realeflow. And when you accept that invitation, it automatically sends the property info to you that I have in my system that I've chosen to share with you. So I don't have to retype it. I don't have to send an email to you. I invite you, you accept the invitation. I set the share permissions on what it is I want to share with you. And then you can see all that information when you log into Realeflow. So it's a really cool feature.
Hey, Tim, why don't you find a deal over here and link me? Let's test it.
Okay. I'll see what I can do about that. But this also is a great tool for using with VAs. If you're having somebody making phone calls for you and stuff, you can make them a PowerLink user or a bird dog. You can PowerLink those properties to people. So pretty cool. And then you have a calendar that's built into Realeflow.
Hey, Tim.
Sure.
Just back on that PowerLink, do they have to have their own Realeflow account?
No, sir.
That was a no?
That was a no.
Okay, thank you.
It can be anybody.
Okay, so if I link them in, they could go in under my account.
Only to the property you assign permissions to.
Okay, thank you.
So within Realeflow, they have a calendar and it's linked to Google Calendar. I don't use Google Calendar, but you can connect it right up with the Google Calendar. And then they have their own task manager. And then for those of you that purchase Realeflow, Realeflow has several courses. I think it's a total of 6 that you can purchase. For those that purchase through the group, you get 2 of their best courses, private lending and Facebook marketing. That'll be included in your purchase. And then down here, you have a very in-depth knowledge base for troubleshooting. And then you can submit a support ticket or you can pick up the phone and call. So that's kind of a very high level view of all the different capabilities in here. Today, I really wanted to focus on contacts and building this buyer's list. So in here, this is your list view of all your contacts. The system, you can go out and create a buyer squeeze page. Realeflow provides somewhere around 100 different templates already pre-made for you of various buyer sites, seller sites, and pre-foreclosure, probate, ugly house, pretty house, all that kind of stuff. This is my test site that I've created called DFW Rehab Properties, and it's a live site. You can go to that site and you can come in here and you can sign up and join the buyers list. That's what this is for. They have these buyers squeeze pages, and they have a new system out now with WordPress sites that I have not converted to yet. So this is the previous version of what they look like. The new ones are all WordPress, and there's a lot more you can do with them. But here you can just come in and join the list. My other site that I have that I market with all the time is Trade Cash for houses.com. And some of you probably been on that site. But you can edit all the text. You can put your own custom video in, which I did. And then if you remember earlier, I said we had a mobile text messaging, voice messaging system built into the system. Well, that's what this is. So what we're trying to do here is collect data, collect buyers, invite buyers to join our system and join our buyers list to receive properties in the areas that they're interested in buying. So if they join here, it's via email. They're putting in their contact information, and if you follow through the prompts here, they are going to be asked to enter a zip code or cities that they want to buy properties in. There is one little glitch in the system right now that and this is some of the tips and tricks that I've learned over the years and workarounds. But the issue is when they check a city name, it doesn't collect the data every time. So it's something for you to watch out. You can manually enter that data. Realeflow is working on rewriting their database now to fix this issue. I don't know when it's going to be done, but in the meantime, there's a workaround. You can manually enter the city data. The other option besides the email is they can come over here and notice what I've got in here. Text the word hot deals to this number, and that will add them to our buyers list as well via and identify them as wanting text and voice messaging. And I'll show you how that shows up here in just a second. So this is an important one. You want people to do this as much as possible, because with text messaging, you want people to opt in. Realeflow does not allow you to just manually go put somebody in for text messaging, because there could be big fines levied against you if you're caught doing that. So you'll hear a lot of other text programs address that issue, but if you get caught doing that, you could stand to get a big fine. And this is Realeflow's way of working around it.
Hey, Tim, you have two different phone numbers. Up in the top, it's 817-550, and down on that text number was a different phone number.
That's because in this line, I'm telling them to call this pre-recorded info line. That extension number is an information line, 24/7 pre-recorded line.
Okay.
Okay. This one here is specifically text the word hot deals for the fastest notification of your deals via text or voice message.
Okay. And so are those in a different, is that in your, those two numbers come from a call application that you have, or where did they go?
This is whatever number you want to have for your business. This is one of my Vonage business numbers that I use specifically for marketing. So I have 9 extension numbers. I have ugly house, pretty house, probate, pre-foreclosure. This one's an investor extension. I have an owner finance extension. So all of those messages are tailored. I had them record. Actually, Vonage will record the script for you. And that's what I've done on these. So this is your number here. This number here is a number provided by Realeflow when you set up your Mobi account at no extra cost.
Thanks.
No extra cost for this number.
Out of curiosity, how much is the Vonage?
Drop me an email later, Dave. I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
I want to say it's 2 phone numbers, and I want to say that it's around $50 a month, something like that.
Okay. I'm just curious because I am just, you are exposing me to a lot of stuff that I need to do.
I can give you an affiliate link with them if you want.
That's fine. I can take it offline. Thank you.
The other thing nice about all of the Realeflow websites, all their squeeze pages, they come with this free report built into it and the autoresponder built into it. So when somebody fills out this page, they're automatically going to be put into an autoresponder specific to this website. Okay. So you're welcome to go in here. I think I probably have you all in our system, but you're welcome to go in and play with this and submit your information and see what you get. And you're even welcome to use those, go edit them to your likings, but you can use them in your Realeflow system, but it's intended to market to those people. Okay. So again, I don't want to get off track here. These are for, this is all part of the buyers squeeze page, buyers building your buyers list and stuff, but you want to be able to communicate to them. And that's what you're doing here when you set up this autoresponder and set up this buyer squeeze page for them. Does that make sense? So again, back here, I did the same thing. This is just my demo site. I could be using this. I could be out there marketing this, but I haven't been. But it's just really to demonstrate to you what happens when people put in their information in here and the autoresponders that you receive after someone enters their information in the system. When they enter that information, it comes in here. Okay, so it shows up in your contact list. Initially, when they come in, I'm getting a lot of spam. And that's probably what this is. So somebody opted in, but they didn't tell me anything about them. So you're going to get spam just like anything else. You know, I have Realeflow has the option to purchase direct mail tracking numbers to tell you what mail campaign it came in from. And unfortunately, you know, the spammers have gotten hold of that number. So I have to go through the list and delete that spam in the system. There's not much you can do with it. You know, there's no way to block it. You just have to check, confirm it's not a valid lead, and then just delete them like this one. So, but when you have people come in, you know, in this case here, we got a seller that come in. I want to stay focused though on buyers today. All of your leads, regardless of what type it is, will come in here, whether it's a realtor, contractor, you know, investor, landlord, whatever it is, they'll all show up in this list. This first one here is the type of an investor, landlord, rehabber. We put these people in the system that way. And one of the tricks that I've learned is I add a 1 to this name here, to the last name, just to tell me if they have more than one profile. This tells me that this is their master profile in my system. And I'll explain why that is in just a minute. Here you just see you've got city and state, zip code, phone number. You're not searching on any of this data right here. You can't search on it. When you come up here and search, it's not searching on the cities. It's searching on their name or their email address. That's how you find people in here, is you search on their name or their email address. This is just a visual to tell you where they're located at. Okay. So this particular profile I created for me in the test, this profile was in Fort Worth. That's why it's set up that way. Okay. Notice these little blue bubbles. Put your mouse over it. It says opted in to Moby. I was telling you earlier that you have to opt in, and that's how you know that they have. So when you try to send a text message, you can do that. When you check the box, you come up here and you click text or voice. You can do that either way here, as long as you've got that blue bubble. And then there you put in your text message, you know, no more than 126 characters remaining. If you don't do that, notice we don't have a text bubble there. It's not going to let us send a Moby message, a text message to that person. So that's how you can tell from looking at the list who's Moby opt-in and who's not. Okay. Any questions on that so far? Okay, so let's go look at this first investor buyer that we have in here. So you have several tabs going across here. You have activity, which is your notes. You can add anything and everything in this paragraph. And when you hit save comment here, it's permanent history. Meaning here's the original right here. I can't change this. It tells you it was put in there a year ago and 3 months and who put it in. Okay. So I can't change this entry. So if you ever make a mistake here, then you can make a correction here. But this is kind of nice that it is permanent history for legal purposes and tracking purposes and stuff. You can see the sequence of events that in which you put stuff in. You can have all the normal, like Microsoft Word document editing capability here. You can put in links, you can put in images, you can rotate them, so on and so forth. You can do all that in this paragraph. I document a lot of stuff on my properties about each buyer, that I meet, or if I have a unique conversation with them, or we talk about specific things they're interested in, I'll put as much info as I can in this paragraph. Next one is contact. Contact information, like normal, you want to put as much contact information as you can in here about this person. Okay. I have email addresses. You know, there's a lot of stuff in here that never gets used, but that's up to you and your business model. How much do you want to document? Okay. How much do you want to document about a buyer or a seller or a realtor or a contractor? You know, you can put it all in here. That's really up to you. What you really need to do when it comes to power matching, you know, the focus today is really building a list. What kind of data entry do you have to do in order to power match? In other words, to easily, with a couple of clicks, send your properties out to your buyers list. You want to have a name and an email at the minimum in the buyer's information, and then come over here to preferences, and you have to have city and state. Come down here to target areas, you got to have the state here, and you have to have cities here. Okay, if you put the state in, so when you power match, it takes the city and state of the property that you're selling. So if I had a property in Weatherford and I was trying to power match it and send it out to my list, when I go to send it out, this person would not receive this Weatherford property because Weatherford is not in the 10 cities that they have. Okay, this person said they want cities close to 76107. By the way, when you put 76107 in here, it auto populates these cities for you. Okay, it's the cities that the USPS system say are related to that particular zip code that you're using. You can edit them as much as you want. If there's only 6 in here, you can add 4, or I can delete it and not use it at all, or I can add another whole city, like I could add Weatherford. Okay, that way this person would get Weatherford leads in the future. Follow me so far? So have to have an email address, have to have the state, and at least one city for this person to ever get a property. So when I have a Benbrook property, he's going to receive it. When I have a Forest Hill property, he's going to receive it. When I have a Lake Worth property, he's going to receive it, so on and so forth. Okay, if you come in here and just put Texas and don't put any cities, they can have all the money in the world and be as serious as anybody, but they'll never get a property, a power match from you, never receive a property from you at all without having the cities and state to match the property that you're trying to sell. This is very important. Does everybody get that? Okay. Vice versa. If you come in here and put 10 cities, but don't have a state, they're not going to get it either. So anytime you're sending a property, the search of matching your buyers to your house, the search starts at the city and state right here. All of this other stuff under preferences is all extra stuff. It's all extra information to know about what a buyer is looking for. In this case, I chose single family. This person has single family homes. You can pick the style of house. You know, none of that matters it's extra stuff because most people don't ever put it into the list. The more you start, it's great to get it if they'll give it to you. Okay. But if they don't give it to you, it's not a big deal. The problem though, when we get to Power Match, I'll show you why you don't want to worry about it. The fact that they don't have it. If you start filtering too much stuff, then you're going to end up with missing a lot of opportunity. The main thing to take away here is you have the city and state, and always fill out all 10 cities. The more cities this person has in the system, the more chances this person is going to receive a property from you when you power match it, if you're out, actively buying houses. Okay. Remember I said back at the beginning, one second. So I made a change in there, didn't I? So I want to make sure I hit save at the bottom of the page. Back at the beginning here where I showed you the name with 1 on it, that's the #1 profile. I can remember you only had 10 cities in here. That's one of the downfalls at the moment with Realeflow, and hopefully with this database rewrite, they're going to give you the ability to add many more cities. But the workaround that I've created for that is, and we go and create another profile for this Tommy Parker, only we're going to say multiple profile down here, and we're going to get rid of these other 2. So now we know that this person is in the system already. He has another contact somewhere. I'm just going to edit him just to show you what the difference I make. So I choose multiple profile to tell me that he's got another profile or many profiles in the system. And then we come down to preferences. And remember in the last one, or earlier we showed you 76107. Well, now I would come in here and change this. Let's say I would have 75215. So if he wanted to buy houses in Dallas too, then we have to come in here and delete this. And we come up here, we put in that same zip code, 75215. Notice it brings up the cities affiliated with that zip code. You select all. So they got a glitch there. Oh, you know what? So one of the things I've learned is, since I deleted all these, I'm redoing this profile, right? I'm cheating here. I didn't go create a new one. So I deleted all that stuff. So I had to hit save first. Now 75215. Okay. Hate it when this happens. So I'm refreshing.
I think you didn't save Tommy Parker without a 1, I don't think.
Oh yeah.
Tim.
That's what happens when I'm trying to cheat here and not make a whole new profile. I should have just made a second profile.
Or maybe you have Tommy Parker blank that had that in pre-existing.
Okay, hold on. Okay. I'm trying to hurry here to not waste time. So I'm gonna hit save. I'm going to come out. So I'm leaving the contact altogether. Again, I'm not sure why that's not saving.
Your new one was Tommy, make that Tommy Parker 2 and see if it does it.
Well, I think I just did something wrong here. So I am having a technical problem here with trying to save this. But I don't know, this usually works just fine here. Again, I'm not, normally I'm creating a new profile. I'm not normally changing it like this. Yeah, the system.
So was the purpose just to show how to get more than 10 cities?
Yes.
That's fine.
So that's exactly the point, is you do the multiple profile here, you come over here and you choose the different, yeah, see, it's not saving, so they're having a technical problem. This should have been blank, but the bottom line is, this is just the reference point of the zip code that you're trying to use here. And because notice that the zip code disappears once you've selected all, there's no zip code here. So that's why I put the 76107 in this case. So I knew what area these cities were selected from. But if you go in here, and my recommendation to people is, if somebody said they wanted 100 cities around DFW, then you could create 10 profiles with 10 different cities, so that that person has the maximum coverage in DFW to receive your deals from. Does that make sense? I mean, this is important. If you're going to be a serious user of Realeflow and trying to maximize your list, that's really the same as having, in some regards, you might have 100 different buyers for those 100 different cities, right? So it's kind of a way of cheating the system, but not really. It's a workaround to maximize the power of your list. So you'll have a buyer, in this case, Tommy Parker, is going to have 10 profiles for a total of 100 cities. So he will have a much better chance of being a match to any of my properties that I advertise than a guy that's got one profile, and he may not be a match at all because he may not have a city that this property is in. Okay. Does that make sense? I mean, is anybody not getting what I'm trying to say with that?
Yeah, the concept makes sense and I understand it. I just don't see how to grab the multiple profiles. I'm in Realeflow. I do not see, I'm on the preferences tab for you. Where does that show up?
It's not, you're not grabbing it, you're creating it. You're going to add me 10 times with 10 different cities in each profile.
Okay.
Unfortunately, right now, like I said, this is one of the bugs. They are rewriting the database. I've been beating up on them for a long time about, what in real life, what investor is going to come in and say, I only want these 10 cities. Now there's some that will, but a lot of the guys want all over the place, right? They'll take a lead wherever they can get a lead. And it may not just be in 10 cities. Some people want just their particular city to stay close to home. I get that. But then a lot of people will take it anywhere they can get it, all over DFW. I think I heard there was 180 some little suburbs of DFW, You know, and if somebody wanted to be on your buyers list for every single one of those little cities, then that's a lot of work because you can only put 10 cities in each profile. It's just
Yeah.
one of my tips and tricks on how to how to maximize the list.
Can it not go by counties?
It does not go by counties.
That would help if it did.
That is one of my recommendations about a year, maybe 2 years ago, was to select, give the investor the option to choose county vice city. I agree.
Because there's tons of little cities in Tarrant County.
That's right. I agree. That's why, we made that recommendation. I used to sit on, Realeflow used to have what they called a pro users council mastermind. And I was actually asked to sit on that. We ran that group for probably about 2 years, and we just brainstormed all kinds of different things to make the tool better. And that was one of the things that we did recommend. Okay, are we ready to move on? I mean, this is really important that you understand this to maximize your list. So let me try and give it to you this way, just to really drive the point home. Dave, you just said you just signed up for Realeflow. So you could go into Realeflow, since you have very few people on your buyers list, I assume, right? You could go into Realeflow and create 10 profiles for you. And use, you got to watch some of the zip codes because there's a lot of overlap. Like here in Weatherford, 7608685868788 all include Weatherford. So what you want to do is minimize that overlap and try and pick zip codes that don't cover the same cities, but put those 10 profiles in there, because what's going to happen is now you're going to be, in 100 different cities around DFW, and you will see that the internal messaging, which is your power matches that people are sending out, I'm going to show you that in a minute, you will see that you're going to start receiving leads from other Realeflow users across the country that have houses in the cities where you want to buy houses.
Okay. Yeah, I have a whole bunch of contacts that I didn't put in. I have no clue how they got there.
Okay.
Contacts come, if you're using that property search, it'll automatically autofill those properties. So if you go in and you do a search on a property, it'll automatically create the owner of whoever that property is as a contact.
Okay.
Well, only if you put the property in the system.
Okay.
Yeah, I use it to search, and then I'll go back through and I got to delete the owner and the property if I don't want to keep it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another bit of a disconnect with Realeflow, and that is your seller and buyer contacts are separate from the property. They're two different files. So like James was saying, if you go in and search on 123 Main Street, Weatherford, Texas, you're going to put the property in the system, but then you're going to have an owner's file, a seller file. And if you decide to delete 123 Main Street, you have to go delete the seller contacts separately, because they're two different files. Just a little quirk there. I don't know that they're going to be able to do anything about that. So, because if you got investors that are connected to multiple profiles, they're selling houses, you don't want to delete them. So, okay. Back to my screen here. Okay, so again, the multiple profile is just a tag that I created, just a way to be able to search on and identify the fact that this person has multiple profiles. Coming down to the next one. Oh, sorry. The other thing that, let me finish going through this particular contact because we didn't finish this. So we talked about the contact info, we talked about the preferences. I rarely use the financing option or tab. That's really more for owner finance stuff. I haven't done any of those recently, but you can collect the information here. I never use the family and associates. You could, you can add your contacts and stuff there. I just haven't been using that. Linked properties, that is where you can add this. So this is an investor. If he was connected or involved in, or maybe wholesaled several different properties to you, all those properties would show up over here, or you can add them right here. So you're able to add a contact to a property. Same thing goes with contractors. So if this guy was a rehabber, you could link him to every property that he was associated with. So that's a really cool feature, and it allows you to track all this information. Who's he associated with? You, a buyer, a seller, what's the relationship? You can track all those kind of things too. I love the fact that I can connect all the contractors to my rehab deals, because on down the road 4 or 5 years, you might think, wow, who was that brick mason I used on Chestnut? I may not remember the name, but I remember the property. So I go pull up the property, and in here we're looking at a contact, but if you're looking at a property here, it's going to show you all the contacts linked up to it over on this side. So it's a great tool from that perspective, because you can have everything linked up in that one property and with that contact or the property. So down here, you have a bunch of custom tabs. So if you have other fields that you want to create, I don't really use this much for the contacts, but on the property side, I'll show you that I have a lot of custom fields that I use in my properties. So now we've got a buyer in the system. If they join through your squeeze page, like, we have a lead source category here, and you got all these different, this list is going to grow over time, but if it comes in through your Realeflow squeeze page, it's going to show up right here. I've got investment properties are us. That was an old one. It doesn't work anymore, but the DFW rehab properties, they will, if it come in from your squeeze page, it's going to automatically show you that they came in from that squeeze page. Okay, or you can select whatever source that you want to, whatever's appropriate. So it gives you the ability to track those sources. Here's the other one that's really important, is tracking the type of buyer. So, we have commercial, investor, landlord, turnkey, lease option, owner finance, rehabber, renter, and retail. Okay, so you have all these different categories that you can track your contacts to, just to make sure that you're not wasting everybody's time. If you have rehab deals, you don't want to be sending those out to your retail buyers or your owner finance buyers or your commercial buyers. You want to send it to the appropriate type of buyer. So I have 3. I have one that I consider really a higher level general investor type category. If I wanted to do something out to all investors, if I had a landlord specific property, then I would choose landlord. And if I had a property that was really, in Realeflow, notice they don't have a wholesaler category. So in my business, this is a business decision for you. In my business, I choose to use rehabber as a wholesaler category. So if I
Mine
have,
shows a wholesaler.
say again,
Mine does show a wholesaler. If
seriously?
you click the, see where it says seller up on top? If you go up to seller, and now you look in that list, wholesaler should show up. Mine does. I don't know why yours is different.
That's interesting.
Yeah, my list is considerably bigger than yours.
Hmm.
Maybe once you get out of that and go to, I clicked on the, shoot. Oh, mine's in lead sources, not in the contact type.
Okay,
It's in, wholesalers in the lead source.
okay.
Sorry.
You had me worried. Okay, and then we have other. So in my other category, I choose not to use this very much, other than for contractors. Now, again, it was a business decision. There's a lot of things in Realeflow that you have to decide what you want to do. I kind of wish that I would have gone a different way and used this more exclusively the way it's broken down, but I chose to use what I'm showing you today early on just because, okay? That's just, I decided to do this way. I have, instead of me putting a credit repair agent, so to speak, in here, I use tags for that. And tags allow me to search and filter even more in depth than what the type does. So that's why I just chose to go that way. If I'd had to do it all over again, I probably would ignore what I've done with tags on that and use the categories that's already in here. So you can check contract, you can have both sources, but and there are people that are both contractors and investors, okay? But once you save it, this is how it shows up. Don't ever let it be unclassified. Because if you think about it, when are you ever going to send something out to unclassified contacts? Okay, so you want to establish the system for your business and how you're going to categorize the contacts, and do that with every single person that comes into your system. If it's only a contractor, then come in here. And the way I use them is I say contractor here, and then I'll come over here and I'll say HVAC or roofer.
Hey, Tim, I have to drop off.
Okay.
Thanks.
Dave. See you.
Bye.
So again, it's a business decision of what you want to do. You want to call them contractors here and then put tags here. Okay. So again, tags allow you to search easily on anybody that was called a roofer or an HVAC company. And that's how I search for my contacts. Any questions on that? If that's a contractor, then notice that we have a contractor tab here now. So you can come down here and put any of the details about that contractor in here. If they have worked on properties for you, you can come in here and add the property address, so it's linked up to it. Okay. Then going back over here, once you've got all of the data filled out here for this person, if they join the system on their own and they put an email address in here, remember, I have to have an email in order to communicate with them. And if they want to have properties, then we have to have city and state. But if I have an email, they can receive our autoresponders. So again, if they come into the system automatically adds them to the autoresponder. If you are manually adding them, which you can do, you can come in here and add them to an autoresponder for that particular website that you're using. In this case, DFW Rehab Properties is one. This was another training site that we don't use anymore, but DFW Rehab Properties. And then when you hit send, it will send that series of emails over time to that particular person, advertising, talking about whatever it is you want to talk about to that particular buyer or seller. If it's a seller and you know they came in, or you're assigning a seller's autoresponder, then they get a different series of emails. Okay. Any questions about this? This is very powerful using the autoresponders, because every website that you get with Realeflow has those built into it. You can go in and customize them. I'm not going to send it to him. This was just a test. And then the other one is the email. You can send an email through the system to this person. Okay. And it will track all the outgoing email. Realeflow does not read email. It does not store and save all those emails. So you have to manually track that through your email account if they respond. But you can send email and you can track it all. You'll see the whole history here if you have been emailing that person.
I found your wholesaler. I knew I'd seen it. I had done it before.
Okay. So any questions about any of the stuff we've talked about so far? Some of these things I don't use really with contacts. You know, tasks, you can track tasks, create tasks, track them for this person. You can go have documents uploaded in this person's contact. You know, if there was a DNA, any kind of an agreement with them, any special documentation with them, you know, you could do that all under documents right here. Again, linked properties, we talked about that. So let me go back to the beginning here and find out where all this is going, why it's so important. Down here under internal messaging, when you send out one of your properties via PowerMatch, it goes through their internal messaging system. Internal messaging means the entire network of Realeflow users across the country, over 200,000 users now. That's where we can communicate on our properties. We can't, it doesn't give us a phone book. It's not an email list. It's not a phone directory or anything like that. It's where we exchange and receive. This is where you receive the power matches from other Realeflow users around the country. And when I say around the country, I mean any Realeflow user that has a property. For example, if a Realeflow user was in Alaska and he was buying properties virtually in Weatherford, he could power match it and it would show up here in the internal messages for me because I have Weatherford buyers on my list. Okay, so you will see when I show you some examples here, you will see properties from all over the country because there's buyers on my list for those cities and state. And that's what the power is of the power match function and internal messages. But none of this is possible. You won't receive any of these opportunities to buy or wholesale to your list if you don't have the buyer's list built correctly. And again, that means you have to have the email address, the city and state. And again, the more cities that you have for each buyer, the more powerful your list is going to be and the more chance of having matches. So this is on the receiving end. This is another test. Let's go see what it was. So when I click on, TMC Property Solutions is my company, and this was, I think this was my hoarder property. It was. So this is a sample of the internal message. It's the result of the power match. I haven't shown you that yet. We're going to go back to that. But it's the result of the power match, meaning I had a house for sale. I created the marketing piece that I wanted to use here, and I wanted to send it to my Realeflow buyers list. And this test account had a buyer in here that matched. So that's why I see it in this test account. And here's what it looks like. It tells you power matching indicates you have buyers that match my property. Last reminder, showing today 10 to 11:30. It gives you the link of the information about the property. Okay. Contact information there for the property. And then the marketing piece that I wrote in the property description paragraph for that property. And we'll look at that in just a minute. But that's why I received this message in this test account, is because this property address matched buyers in the test account buyers list. You follow me so far? So then at the bottom of the internal message, see, view my matching buyers. Now keep in mind, this is just my test account, so it's small. Okay. But if you were to see my real account, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, depending on what the cities are for the property that's being sold. But this automatically tells you who is on your buyer's list as a potential buyer for the property you received in the internal messages. Okay. Then you can just click on the all button. Takes a second to flag them all. And then over here under filters, remember earlier I said back in the buyer's description where we didn't need bedrooms and bathrooms and square footage and all that stuff, because many people don't know what they want. They might have a 3 or a 4 bedroom. So as a workaround around that, the only thing we select is the type of buyer that we're focused on. So if we want to hit the maximum coverage of buyers, I'm going to click on investor. Okay. I'm not going to worry about bedrooms, bathrooms, or match on price. Many people don't know what price. Many people don't know what bedrooms or bathrooms they'll take. So rather than miss an opportunity, we just say, leave those alone. Only pick the type of buyer. Okay. So now we got to check the box again. We hit send email. Over here, we have a templated email for you that's only a template. I highly recommend that you don't ever send it like it is and make it your email, make it your own marketing piece. They've given you some basics. All you have to do is put your name, the email address that you're going to use, and in your account, I guess I must not have an email set up in here, but in your account, when you click on this, it'll give you a drop down for all the email accounts that you have in your Realeflow account. And then change this. This is just a template. Make it say what you want it to say. You know, you need an attention getting subject line to get people's attention. And then you come down here and you do the same thing. You know, edit all this stuff. The thing you don't want to edit is this link right here. That is the link to the sell point flyer. And I always recommend that you go out and look at that link before you send it. Now, what's different on this flyer? Come on, James, I know you know.
I need to see the, go back up on top. What was the other one? I didn't see the other one. Oh, your contact details are missing.
Well, it's not really missing.
You just, oh, you've got to, I want more info. It's hidden. It's got to click on it.
So why would that be? Think about this. Let's say that, James, you sent the email out. This was your deal. Here's your info. And when you power match it, it goes to out to the Realeflow users, and it comes into the internal message. So the first email, I'm kind of.
Oh, this is a wholesale deal that got through. That's.
Yeah, this was my my hoarder house deal a while back.
Yeah, so where it's showing that wholesale, or where it's showing that link, is that property might not belong to you, but you're trying to get it sold so you can get a piece of the pie.
That's right. So in the scenario, if you sent me that email, it comes into my internal messaging, right? And when I open it, I'm looking at it to see if I want to buy it, or remember at the bottom where I clicked on that view matching buyers, I can then send that to my buyers list.
Okay.
Okay. Remember, I clicked on that button. It says view matching buyers. It's matching on all the buyers that we've been talking about, building your list, making sure we have 10 cities and state, an email address for those particular buyers. Those all matched up to the property address, in this case, Weatherford, Texas. And I can send it to my list. In this case, it was just down to the one in this example. But this is what it's sending, is this link. And when I send it to my list, I don't want to give them James' contact information, right? I don't want to give them James' info. So what'll happen is, let's say this Lisa is looking at this and she says, oh, I like this property, I want to buy this. When she clicks on I want more info, it's going to come back to me because Lisa responded. I mean, Lisa's on my list. So Lisa's email is going to come back to me and say, I'm interested in knowing more. So her and I pick up the phone and we connect. But Realeflow will also notify the sender, which is you, James. The Realeflow will notify you to say that I have a potential buyer so you and I can talk. So Realeflow is notifying you, the seller, and me as a potential buyer so that we can get together, come up with a wholesale agreement, joint venture agreement, whatever we're going to do to talk about how we can do this deal together and all of us get paid. You know, if Lisa says, I want to go see this, then I'm going to call James and say, what do we have to do, James? You know, and come to an agreement of the minds on how we're going to work together so that we can go work together and get this property sold.
That makes sense. Okay,
Now-
now I know how to identify it. That makes sense.
Now, in the workshop, we usually will go through a real live example of this when I do the all-day workshops on this, because this is a powerful tool when you see it done correctly. You know, the fact that Realeflow is looking out for me, you know, is cool. They take that contact info off so that I can send it to Lisa. And then Lisa can respond back to me, and hopefully we can do business together. Now, that brings me to the next thing. The property description paragraph. Realeflow edits this for us, but in this property description paragraph, you don't ever want to put contact information in this paragraph of any kind, a website, a link, a phone number, an email address of who to contact if you intend to power match this out to other people. Okay, because Realeflow is not going to remove this. So if you, James, if you put your phone number in this property description paragraph, I would never turn around and send this to my list, because now Lisa could call you.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay.
So you're
And-
texting. Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, notice I have text number in here. When I sent this initially, I had no intentions of needing to power match it to the community, to others, because I know my list is big and I knew it would sell. So in this case, I knew it wouldn't go to anybody else, didn't need it to go to anybody else. But a lot of people don't know about this. And I see stuff come across all the time with links, phone numbers, email addresses in this paragraph, and it shouldn't be. You can do it if you want to. Just know that anybody like me that knows what to look for, I would never send this to my list.
So on the flip side of that, if you get one of these and it says click here for info and not the direct, then is that a pretty good sign that someone else is wholesaling someone else's deal?
Say that one more time.
So if you get one of these that says click here for info and doesn't have the direct information, is that a sign that it's a wholesale coming from someone who's trying to wholesale it?
Could be. Yeah, I mean, you talking about in this paragraph?
No.
Go back
Up at
up.
the top. Yeah, that, you know, how the other one, when you advertise directly to your thing and not forwarding to your list, it had your contact details.
So when you see, I want more info, you know that they're trying to wholesale a deal rather than to try and produce it.
Trying to find the,
No, go back to that one page you had. That one there. Now, see how yours has got contact detail right there in this middle? If
Yeah.
it says, I want more detail, that's a indicator that that is a wholesale deal and not a direct from a seller, from
Yeah.
an investor.
yeah, well, you know, this is coming from me. If it's got my contact information on here, you know that
It's
that
your
is,
deal. It's your
my
personal deal.
It is.
Yeah, but if you send me something through Realeflow that has click here and no information, then it's
That
most
means-
likely not your deal.
That is correct. If you're
A
talking about,
wholesaler.
if it looks like this,
Yes.
That means that that is somebody else's deal and I'm trying to wholesale. And sometimes I'll just push these on to help other people get them sold, depending on who it is. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So it's a very, very powerful tool. Now let's go over and take just a minute to go over and look at, so I'm gonna cancel this. Let's go look at a property real quick and show you the property side of this. So remember we were talking earlier about how the contacts come in connected to the property. So there's sellers' addresses here. If I had contractors involved, you'd see the contractors showing up over here, as long as you make the link with them. But I put in, you know, realtors, title companies, all the different contractors, lawn service, cleaning companies, all that stuff in here now, so that I always have that information. From the property perspective, I mean, the system pretty much fills in all the property info for you when you put it in. So, but you do have to, again, have city and state. Don't use abbreviated cities names. Don't do FW because the system doesn't work off abbreviations. It's got to be full spelling names. And then down here under the property tab is where the property description paragraph is at. And I'm hoping someday that they fix this. I think this is a marketing paragraph and not really property description. But right here, property description and details, that is really your marketing paragraph, where I was telling you earlier, you don't want to put contact information in. So you want to write as much detail as you can. I see people send deals out all the time with nothing in it. Well, why do I want to get interested in something if you don't tell me anything? So spill your guts here. Say what you want to say. Why is this the best deal since sliced bread, you know, and spell it all out there. But you have to have that information in order to really sell the property, in my opinion. All this other stuff in here, all these other data points and stuff are extra information for you. Now, the property info, you want to fill in the blanks as much as you can. For example, you know, square footage, year built, that kind of stuff, bedrooms, bathrooms, because that can show in the property flyer. But, you know, the tax info and the repairs needed and, you know, air conditioning, basement, things like that, none of that is stuff that you need for selling the property. Okay, so once this house is all ready to go, you got all the data in there that you want to market and promote with, then you come over here to, well, first off, go to publish to website. So the reason you have to come here is because these blanks here, first name, last name, email, and phone number, are blank. By default, these are blank. So you have to fill these in. Okay. So you want to make sure that that's filled in. I keep hoping that someday we're going to reorganize these in the sequence in which you would want to use them. But so far that's not happened. Okay. Then I like to come up here and click on this link. I want to see what I've written and how it displays. So in this case, you know, I didn't put pictures in there, but you want to add your pictures, and then here's where those property details are at that we talked about. And then here's that property description paragraph. You should fill in the blanks, make that, say what you want. I didn't show you this, but I will. We'll go back and show you where the price is at. And then again, you know, that info I just told you about, you want to make sure that the contact details are in here. And that way people know how to reach you. But then let's go back to, so you don't have to turn it on to the website, but I would if you're actually ready to sell it, and then go look at it from the public side on your webpage to see what it looks like on your site. Okay, I'll just go show you something that's on my site now. Sorry, the Zoom thing is in my way. So, when you come over to your core site with Realeflow, just come up here to click homes for sale. And, there's that hoarder house right there. And you just click on it and go see what it looks like and view all the information that you posted just to make sure that it all looks right. I've seen a lot of things not work the way they're supposed to, or maybe you forgot to do. But so going and checking it to me is a very important part. Okay. So then I'm just going to close this. I'm not going to go live with it. And then once you are ready to go post this to your list, you're going to come up here to Powermatch. Well, before we do that, I'm going to show you where the property pricing is. So you're going to click on this listing tab. And notice you have a listing information on acquisition and a listing information on sale. Well, right here on sale is where you're going to put your asking price. So hit save. So now it will display an asking price. I see a ton of properties come through with no price on them. Okay, so now we're ready to Powermatch. Again, Powermatch is the automated function of matching this house or a house to all of the buyers on your list that have the same matching city and state. I keep emphasizing matching city and state. That's where the match automatically starts, is city and state. Everything else is extra. So now, if this was a retail deal, then you're going to click filters. You're going to come up here and you're going to click retail. It's going to filter out the list. It usually takes a second. So I left 2 in here as retail buyers. If this was going to be an investor deal, then naturally you're going to see a bigger list. Okay. Once you have selected that, again, I would ignore all these. You don't need them. The more filters you put on, the more opportunities you're going to miss. Again, if somebody asks for a 4-bedroom, they might consider a 3, or if they ask for a 2-bathroom, they might consider a 1. If you start putting in too many filters, you're going to miss them. So we just leave it unchecked. Again, click select all, or pick whichever ones that you want to pick. Now, occasionally you will see this check all the boxes and then uncheck. It's a little bug that they haven't been able to fix. Not sure why. Just simply check the box again. It'll fill it and it'll be fine. And again, click on send email. You have another template. Okay. This again is strictly a template. Now you're the sender. You're sending your property. So this, when you're sending your property, it's going to your list. Okay. Again, you can come check the link to see what the link looks like before you post it. minus the details in the picture. Does this one look right? Have I missed anything? We got an address. We got a asking price. We have some property details. Now, keep in mind, if you really went through and filled out all the blanks, there'd be more info here, because you can put in features and amenities and that kind of thing. If you had an image or a video, it would show up right here. And property description will be filled out, and that could be as long or short as you wanted it. And then my contact info, that should be there, right? It's my property, so I want my contact info. Okay, so then you just simply tweak the language here to say whatever it is you want it to say. Put your name and email address up here, the subject line, and then you hit send. In the workshop, we send them. We do all the details, and we'll send it to the attendees of the event so they can see how it actually comes through. But this is what you're seeing on the other end. Any questions on this so far?
Nope.
So going back to the beginning, Dave Ham, he just signed up with Realeflow a week or two ago. So he probably doesn't have many buyers on his list at all. Somebody could sign up today, have a deal today, and possibly sell it through Realeflow by using the community buyers. The community means just that, the 200,000 plus users of Realeflow. And this particular property is in Fort Worth. So we're going to, through the community buyers match, we're going to select the community users that have buyers looking for a house in Fort Worth. That's what this means. That's why the buyers match is so important, to make sure that you have it filled out correctly. And you can see here that these are all Realeflow user company names that have some Fort Worth buyers on their list.
How do I ensure that I'm on that list?
Well, keep in mind, this is my test account, James.
Yeah, but it still goes back to the question of how do I make sure that I'm going to show up on other people's Realeflow community list? Where we'll have to go through that, because I don't know how to make sure, because I've never gotten one of these sent to me. So apparently I don't have something set up right.
You don't have an internal message. You don't receive any internal. Well, let me finish this, and we'll go to that afterwards. Look who this guy is.
Yeah, look at that.
Do you think
Pretty
he's
big buyers list?
Do you think he's building a buyer's list a little differently than everybody else?
Yeah,
By the way,
considerably.
I taught him how to do this. I taught several of them, but they're not doing it. I taught him how to do it. There's a few others in here, but most of these people aren't doing it right. And, but that's why I really got started teaching these classes, because the more people understand and do what I'm doing here, the more people could be selling deals through Realeflow because of the number of matches. So here's what we're going to do. Again, the scenario was Dave is brand new. He has a house in Addison, he said. In this case, we'll just say Fort Worth. And we're going to come up here and we're going to say this is an investor type deal. So we're going to select investor. Now, keep in mind, these numbers aren't filtered. Well, they're going to be, because I just selected an investor. But you'll notice if you leave it on all, this list is bigger. Notice my list dropped from 2,300 to 16 by selecting investor types, right? Did you see that? Does that make sense? So when you choose any, that means this is all types of potential buyers, renters, owner finance, lease option, commercial, all those type of buyers right there. Then you come up here and you filter it. This is an investor deal. It's going to narrow this list. If I chose retail, the list is even smaller, right? Okay. Everybody see that? See the importance of that? So if you're Lisa, with you being a realtor, you could have all your retail buyers in here, and you'd be able to see just how many there are versus everybody else. So let's just say we come back here. Let's make this investor. Now we select all again. Okay, so now I don't know how many's on here, but 16, 2,000, over 2,000 with everybody. Now I'm sending this lead out to 2,000 people, and it's, you know, you're doing it to the community, which means they're not your people. These are buyers on other Realeflow's users list, buyers list. And again, you just come over here and hit send message. And again, you have another template. Okay, a little bit different, but I always go check this link because it's a last ditch check. Make sure I didn't miss something. This one's going to have the price and contact details on it again, because I am sending it out to everybody. Okay. The only time this comes off and it says request more info is when I am trying to work with another investor and wholesale it out to my list. Okay. So you just tweak it to make it fit. Notice I'm promoting, well, I need to fix this. This is my test account, so this is wrong, but I'm trying to promote people join and Think Realty in this particular one. This is a investor list. It's my test account, but I see I got to fix that because that code's no good anymore. But you can put anything you want. You can even set up specific email signatures for all of your Realeflow accounts. You can have a retail email signature. You can have a wholesale, a rehabbers, whatever you want to do. And then, if this was Dave, he could send this out to this community of users, and he may very well have some hits on it because of the number of people on this list. If it was a house in Addison, you can do the same thing. As a matter of fact, if you get a lead on a house, you can kind of reverse this. If you get a lead on a house that's kind of out in the middle of nowhere or a place you don't normally work, does anybody on the call here have an address that we can put in here just to test something?
Yeah, hold on, I'll give it to you right now. Let me pull
Property
it up.
address that's maybe out in an unusual place.
Yes, I got one. Hold on just a minute. I'm going to give you one. It's in Mineral Wells.
Okay.
Let me grab that address. I got to get into this other system to grab the address. So hold on.
So Tim, when you pull the address, I'm assuming it pulls information from the tax rolls.
Yes, ma'am.
So is that what's populating the seller's name and contact information?
Yes, it is.
And so that automatically, if you're researching a property from what you said earlier, so that automatically gets put in your seller list?
Yes, when you're about to do, when you do what I'm about to show you, yes, it adds it to the seller's list. So
So if it's a house you're not interested in, then you need to go back and delete them.
that's correct.
Gotcha.
And I always recommend that you, unless you're doing it all at the same time, real time, I always recommend go delete the seller lead first and then just go back to the property. If you forget and don't do them both together, you're going to forget. You're going to end up with a bunch of sellers in your system with no properties attached to them.
James put that address in the chat box.
Oh, I didn't see it. Sorry, I'm looking at Realeflow.
Wasn't it 300 Southwest 20th Street, Mineral Wells?
Yeah, I got it. Sometimes it's difficult trying to manage. Now I can't seem to close the chat box. What is going on here? $20th.
That's what it says, yeah. Right there, that's it.
Okay, so now I got to wrap this up, guys. I got a doctor's appointment. So notice it pulls up the seller's info there. So if you decide you don't want this deal, then I recommend you go delete the seller first and then just come back to the property and delete the property. But that's just a habit I've gotten into. But what I wanted to show you was, let's say this is out in Podunk, Alaska, and you don't know if you have any buyers or even if the Realeflow community is active out there. So you can come in here, click on Powermatching. Again, we don't need to put any other data in there right now because we're not going to send this. We're just trying to see if you have any matches and potentially could sell that house before you go pursue it. So then, remember, this is your buyer's list. That's where you're always going to make the most money because you don't have a partner or anybody to share it with. But when you come to community buyers, it's going to tell you the other Realeflow users that have buyers on their list for this particular city and state.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, pretty powerful. So, if this was out of state somewhere in an area you're not familiar with, put it in there and see if there's potential Realeflow buyers out there, or who knows, you may, I've been building my list for 12 years, so I got buyers all over the country in my list. That doesn't mean they're all active still. A lot of them have left the business and stuff, and I weed those out as I come across them and find out about them. But yeah, so that tells me if I might have a way, and you can go send them an email and see if they're interested and connect with them and talk about it and so forth. So just to show you what I do on the deletion, I come over here and just click, open up that.
You got to delete the contact, yep.
Delete it, and then come right back to the property address. Hit delete it again.
Awesome, I like that.
Okay, and then I save it, even though it's supposed to auto save. Notice it says save successful up there. Okay, so I know this was a fast, it's hard to believe it's been an hour and 45 minutes, but there's a lot to go through in this buyer's list stuff, and it's so important to do it right. Otherwise, the system is worthless to you. So again, remember, email addresses, city and state for every one of those buyers. If those buyers don't give you cities and state, my recommendation is reach out to them with an email or a phone number if you have it, and ask them for that, because tell them your system doesn't work without, they can either give you the zip code to enter in the system or the cities. And then when you go back in there to put them in the system, don't ever not fill it in. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull up one name here. Go back to preferences and make sure that all 10 cities are filled in. Don't ever do just partials, because remember, the more cities are in your system, the more of those power matches you're going to get, like we were just talking about, Jim. The more potential power match internal messages you're going to receive. And I'm going to have to go over that with you another day, because I do have to leave for my doctor's appointment.
Okay.
So
Is it based upon me being in there as an investor? Is that what it's based upon?
well, you got to have your company profile, and then you need at least one buyer with those cities and state in there.
Okay.
We'll get online and walk you through it.
Okay, because yeah, I haven't gotten none since 2020, and I'm wondering what was going on with that. But I went back and looked at my internal messaging. Last one I got was in 2020. I didn't get nothing in 2021. So
I can show you. Okay, I do need to go. Any parting comments?
nope. And then I can show you how to change it to where it shows your wholesaler, because I've got several on mine. I can sort by wholesalers.
Okay. All right, man. Gotta
So I have
go.
a question. So if you're farming an area and you're going to do the direct mail and all that, can you massively download in a bunch of homeowners' addresses under sellers to market to them?
You can download under lead pipes. So you have access to the lead pipes, or if you do the upgrade, lead pipes premium over here on the left side, and you can do lead pipes premium for a one-time upgrade, and you have nationwide access to 17 different types of leads. The only one you don't want to do is pre-foreclosure or probate. Probate is a paid upgrade for Realeflow. Anyhow, we get those through Real Estate IQ. But the pre-foreclosures, their service they pull from is not updated frequently enough to be valid, because foreclosure is so quick here in Texas. So, but yeah, you can download, I think it's 1,000 leads a day. And if you go to premium, I think it goes up, and I can't remember right now what it is.
But is there any way for you to like have a bunch of names and addresses in an Excel sheet and upload it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. No problem. You can
Okay.
you can import properties as well as contacts.
Okay.
All right. I got to go.
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Tim.
All right. Bye.